Do begin here with the strike on the nation's busiest commuter rail. The walkout now entering its second day, and the clock is ticking ahead of the busy Monday morning commute. ABC's Morgan Norwood is at New York's Penn Station with the latest. Morgan, good morning.
Good morning to you, Ed. And you can see these workers back on the picket lines for day 2 of this strike. And this morning, there was growing concern for that Monday morning commute, which could turn out to be costly and chaotic for the nearly 250,000 riders who depend on the Long Island Railroad to get in and out of New York City.
This morning, day 2 of a massive rail strike, now threatening to upend the start of the work week for hundreds of thousands of New York commuters. The Long Island Railroad, the busiest commuter rail system in North America, now shut down, leaving some 250,000 daily riders scrambling for a way into New York City.
Give them what they want and let them get back to work.
The walkout starting just after midnight Saturday after months of negotiations between the MTA and unions representing some 3,500 rail workers collapsed.
We're just looking for an agreement that ensures our members' standard of living. That's all this is about.
Our last offer literally gave the unions everything they said they had wanted in terms of pay, but they rejected even that.
The main sticking points, pay raises between 4.5% and 5%, along with health care costs.
So you guys are prepared to hold out for not just days, but months?
Yes, if we have to, yes. We have no choice. We have no choice. It's for us now, it's about survival. We waited 4 years. Our backs are against the wall. It's about survival.
Now, with both sides digging in, the political finger-pointing escalating too. Governor Kathy Hochul blaming the Trump administration, who had delegated an emergency board last fall for cutting mediations short. Trump firing back online, saying, "I have nothing to do with it." Adding, "No, Kathy, it's your fault." And now looking over the facts, you should have not allowed this to happen. And overnight, confusion over whether talks are even happening. Governor Hochul posting she's received an update from the MTA on the status of negotiations and plans for alternate service. But just moments later, the LIRR unions calling it an open-ended strike, telling ABC News despite Hochul's claims, MTA officials had not reached out to them about negotiations. For many commuters, the railroad is the most affordable way into the city, helping them avoid tolls, parking, expensive ride shares, and hours of gridlock traffic.
It really does add a stressful component. I can't imagine what people are going to be doing on Monday.
And this morning, the unions are also pushing back against MTA's claims that higher wages could lead to higher fares for passengers. They point to a presidential emergency board study that they say shows otherwise. Still this morning, both sides very far apart and no timetable on when they could return to the negotiation table, Rhiannon.
Yeah, and this could affect a lot of people, Morgan. Thank you so much for that update. We turn now to the severe weather ripping through a big stretch of the country over the weekend. ABC News meteorologist Leslie Lopez is here with more on that. Hey, Leslie.
Hey, good morning. Yes, we're talking about some intense weather, severe weather still moving through the area. I do want to point you out to some video yesterday. Golf ball size hail out towards Kansas. This is Goodland and Brewster, Kansas. There was lightning off into the distance as well. And then we had some blowing dust through Oakley, Kansas. I mean, pretty impressive video of how thick that dust layer was just moving across the region. We want to take you out towards a severe threat level. We are going to see more intense tornadoes as a possibility, especially as we're cruising into today. So the opportunity, we're looking at the timing, getting anywhere from Kansas all the way up to Sioux Falls. But tomorrow really is going to be the larger threat. We're talking about this bullseye area for tomorrow, getting into areas closer towards, it looks like, right near Kansas. It's going to be Wichita all the way towards Kansas City, where we're going to be very focused on very intense and possibly strong tornadoes. We'll keep you updated. Whit?
Yeah, difficult few days ahead. Leslie, we'll check back with you in just a bit. Now to that key primary election decided overnight in Louisiana. Incumbent Republican Senator Bill Cassidy is out, and the Trump-backed candidate is now heading for a runoff. ABC's Alex Brochet is in Washington with more. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. And yeah, Louisiana was a stunner. Overnight, Republican Senator Bill Cassidy lost his bid for a third term after 2 primary challengers finished ahead of him. Now, Cassidy, the incumbent, got about 25% of the vote. No elected senator has lost a primary since 2012, and this was a major victory for President Trump. Cassidy drew the president's ire 5 years ago as one of the Republicans who voted to impeach Trump during that second trial. And in this race, Trump endorsed Representative Julia Letlow, who posted the strongest finish with about 45% of the vote. She'll now face off with State Treasurer John Fleming in a June 27th runoff. Cassidy's campaign acknowledged this race was sort of Julia's to lose in the first round. However, the senator was confident that he'd make a runoff. And this was a test of the weight of the Trump endorsement in a solidly red state. The president getting revenge on another one of his perceived political enemies, cheering Cassidy's loss on social media, writing, "Disloyalty to the man who got him elected is now part of legend." Now, what's interesting here is Cassidy's loss means just 3 of the 17 Republicans who voted to convict or impeach President Trump in 2021 after January 6 are still in office on Capitol Hill. The rest either retired, are retiring, or have lost primaries.
And Alex, we know this midterm election year is just starting to heat up. What's next on the primary schedule?
Yeah, Whit. So another test will come on Tuesday. You have primaries in Alabama, Idaho, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. In Georgia, those primaries include a crowded Republican field for Senate and governor. And in Kentucky, Representative Thomas Massie, who's been an outspoken critic of the president, will face off in a primary with Trump-endorsed Ed Gowrine. And overnight, President Trump repeated his calls for Kentuckians to vote Massie out, calling him the worst and most unreliable Republican congressman in the history of our country. Whit.
All right, some big races to watch. Alex Brochet for us. We appreciate it. Rhiannon?
All right, Whit, we turn now to the fallout following President Trump's trip to China and whether the president will approve $14 billion in arms sales to Taiwan. ABC News foreign correspondent Britt Clennett joins us now with more on this from China. Good morning, Britt.
Good morning, Rhiannon. Yeah, concerns are running very high in Taiwan after President Trump said the sale of American weapons to the self-ruled island are a very good negotiating chip following his summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping here in China. Now, in an interview with Fox News, Trump also warned Taiwan against formally declaring independence from China. Beijing sees Taiwan as a breakaway province which will be taken over by force if necessary. And in one of Xi's strongest ever statements, the Chinese leader cautioned Trump that the Taiwan issue, if not handled properly, could lead to conflict. Taiwan's presidential office, meanwhile, said the U.S. policy towards Taiwan remains the same, saying the U.S. is bound by law to provide it with weapons and that the defense helps deter against regional threats. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Trump has yet to approve a $14 billion arms package for Taiwan, causing worry there that Trump is considering making a deal with Xi as a way to kind of get China to force Iran's hand and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, days after Trump's visit, it's been confirmed that on Tuesday, Xi will host Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Kremlin said Putin watched Trump's visit here very closely. Rhiannon.
All right, a lot on the line. Our Britt Clennett there for us in China. Thank you. Make sure you tune into This Week Later. George Stephanopoulos will interview U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer about the outcomes of the China summit. Plus, Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky has his high-stakes primary.
Rhiannon, now to London, and the two massive protests from opposite ends of the political spectrum happening at the same time. Tens of thousands of people joined a nationalist anti-immigration rally on Saturday, a display of the growing power of the far-right movement closely linked to President Trump's MAGA movement. Nearby, thousands also marched in a pro-Palestinian rally calling for an end to the conflict in Gaza. Police reported more than 40 arrests. Rhiannon?
And now we turn to a legal move that could put cash in the hands of President Trump's political supporters. ABC's Catherine Faulders is in Washington with more on this story. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Rhiannon. Despite the backlash from Democrats and even some Republicans, I'm told by sources that President Trump is expected to make this arrangement public as soon as tomorrow.
This morning, sources tell ABC News President Trump is in the final stages of negotiating a deal with his own government over a $10 billion lawsuit he brought against the IRS. The president expected to drop the suit as soon as Monday in exchange for the creation of a so-called Truth and Justice Commission, which would oversee a fund of more than $1.7 billion to pay the president's allies. That means those who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th could benefit, along with others who claim they were treated unfairly by what Trump calls a weaponized Biden Justice Department. Trump sued the IRS earlier this year after a tax contractor leaked some of his tax records years ago. Trump also filed $230 million in claims against the Department of Justice for investigating him. A president suing their own government is without precedent, something Trump himself has acknowledged.
It's interesting because I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And, that decision would have to go across my desk. And it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself.
The extraordinary use of taxpayer money would be shrouded in secrecy. Sources tell ABC News that under the terms of the potential agreement, which sources caution are not final until publicly announced, Trump would have the authority to remove members of the commission running the fund without cause, and the commission would be under no obligation to disclose its procedures or decision-making process. The move even alarmed some Republicans.
I don't even know how that's allowable to happen.
Democrats saying Trump is creating a political slush fund that is utterly fraudulent.
I mean, it's outright corruption. What we're seeing here is outright corruption.
Donald Trump is setting up a $1.7 billion political slush fund for the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and his other political lieutenants and hangers-on.
Now, in response to our reporting, a spokesperson for the Trump legal team said that the president continues to hold those who wrong America and Americans accountable, but still no word from the president himself or the Justice Department. And guys, we really are in an unprecedented situation here where President Trump is suing the government he runs. This is something the judge overseeing the case has raised serious concerns about, questioning how the parties involved here are actually different. So this will certainly face legal challenges in some form. But the question is, can the judge really do anything here to stop this from moving forward? Many legal experts say probably not, at least not immediately, but we'll have to see. Whit.
Yeah, that is the question. We haven't really seen anything like this before. Catherine Faulders for us. Thank you. Now to the tragedy in the Maldives. A rescuer died during the recovery mission to find the bodies of 4 Italian divers. Maldives officials say a Coast Guard diver died Saturday from decompression sickness. He was among the crews trying to reach the group of divers presumed dead after exploring an underwater cave. Late Friday, the body of one of those divers was recovered. In response to this latest death, a European task force of highly skilled divers is now being called in to assist with the ongoing recovery efforts.
Really tragic story there. Now to Maine, people paying their respects to the firefighter who was killed in a massive fire Friday at a lumber mill. The remains of Andrew Cross was taken on a 45-mile journey to a funeral home to allow first responders and others to honor him. At least 10 other people were injured in that fire, and the cause is still under investigation. Whit.
Rhiannon, this morning there is a growing legal battle over Cars for Kids, and specifically its promotional jingle that many Americans have heard repeatedly for years. ABC's Alex Stone is in Los Angeles with that story. Alex, they might silence this commercial for a while.
That's right, Whit. Yeah, you've no doubt heard it. It is everywhere. You know it. 1-877 Cars for Kids. It's an earworm that's been stuck in the heads of many TV and radio audiences for years. And now a judge here in California is saying no more.
You've probably heard it, maybe many times, over the almost 3 decades it's run on TV and radio.
1-877 Cars for Kids.
It's even been mocked in pop culture.
1-877 Cars for Kids.
Shut up! Shut up! What is this charity?
But this morning, a Superior Court judge in California says a Cars for Kids jingle must stop being broadcast in the state.
Donate your car today.
Finding the nonprofit has been violating California's false advertising laws.
We have to show they knowingly and intentionally misled the public. And it's not an easy thing to do, but we did it.
The ruling stems from a lawsuit filed by a Southern California man who says he donated a car after hearing the ad on the radio. He believed the proceeds would go to help children in need, but his attorney says that's not where the money has actually been going.
They knew what they were doing. The ad is extraordinarily impactful.
The judge ruling Cars for Kids has misled donors by implying the funds go to support needy children, but that most of the money actually goes to Orthodox Jewish programs in New York, New Jersey, and the Middle East. The court finding the money is spent on sending teenagers to Israel and a $16 million building there. The judge ordering Cars for Kids to pay the victim $250, the fair market value for his non-working car. In a statement, Cars for Kids says, "We believe this case was nothing more than a lawyer-driven attempt to siphon off charitable funds for their own gain. We expect to win on appeal because the law and facts are clearly on our side."
It will make many charities a little concerned that a case like this could be brought, and checking whether their disclosures are adequate.
All right, so Cars for Kids has until June 8th to stop airing the ads in California or get that ruling put on hold. It's also facing a similar federal class action lawsuit alleging much of the same. Rhiannon.
All right, thank you for that. It is now time to talk about the second round of the NHL playoffs. The Sabres clawing back from the brink of elimination, forcing a Game 7, the two greatest words in all of sports, against the Canadiens. Buffalo trailed in the first period, 3-2. Looked like it was over, but they had plenty of time. They turned things around. They went on an unanswered scoring surge. They had 3 goals in the second, then another 3 in the third. The Canadiens missing their chance to close out the series on home ice. The Sabres handily defeating the Canadiens 8-3. And you can catch Game 7 tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. I was in Buffalo for the start of this series. They tell me in Buffalo they are a hockey town with a football
I believe
problem.
it. We could hear the that's good. We could hear the cheers from Buffalo all the way down here in New York City. So
ready.
great series.